This is about Uncle Doc Cunningham that was adopted by the Indian tribe out in Oklahoma.
Cherokee Indian tribe.
And this is Cherokee Indians, and Aunt Connie's relating it.
Yes. Uncle Doc had a brother who lived in Oklahoma City, who incidentally was the first sheriff of Oklahoma City, and whose daughter was the first person born in the state of Oklahoma and was so named Oklahoma. Uncle Doc had made his forage out to Oklahoma City and had become well acquainted with his brother's people, but had also gotten acquainted with a good many of the people in the various Indian tribes who quite rampart in the rocky areas of the state at that time, particularly up around Shawnee and those outlying places some 60 miles or so northeast of Oklahoma City. He was finally adopted by a Cherokee Indian tribe. And then, with Indian tribes, as it is now, it was necessary for a person to work himself up almost to becoming a chieftain with the group or with the tribe before he was given his first horse, as we would know, a pony then. Uncle Doc had lived with his tribe for several years and had grown quite tired of the lack of civilization among them, and decided that he wanted to come back to his homeland, South Carolina. Eventually, he had been able to take the pony swimming long enough to realize that it could outswim any other pony in the tribe. And in that way, he was able to get away. He lived for several weeks, really in ambush, trying to evade the Indians chasing him. He had been away from home for a number of years. He was married to a red-headed woman who lived down in Golightly, South Carolina. He came home early one morning just when she was throwing water out in the dish pan into the yard. And she looked up and says, "Well, hello, Doc."
Well, what do you know? Amazing. After so many years.
Hello, Doc. That's all she said. "Hello, Doc."
And
And not a word was ever said.
So the idea being that the Indians, once they adopted you, you were supposed to stay there. It was a forever thing. And so it was a matter of escaping evasion.
Indeed it was. He couldn't call on anybody.
Fantastic. Well, that's really a story in itself, I'll tell you. That's Uncle Doc Cunningham. Now, that was the brother of my grandmother, Fanny. No, back off. No, back off there. That was my grandfather Haynes' brother.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh boy, that's really great.
Haynes' the grandmother.
Yeah.
Adeline Haynes.
Right.
Brother.
Okay. Getting straight now. Okay, we got it.
Because it must be little, you know. But I remember the thing that you told about how that his wife told Doc to, "Doc, get out there and get us another load of firewood. We're running out of firewood." He went out the door to get the firewood, and he kept on boogieing, and he stayed. He went to Oklahoma, and he lived with those Indians, and, you know, many, many years later, he came back and stopped by the wood pile and loaded up and started back into the house with that load of firewood.
And she was pouring
out the dishwater.
Hi, Doc.
And something like 20 years had gone by.
Oh.
That's quite a story, though. I think that's one you'd like to write something. It sounds like a fiction when you really get down to it. It just sounds like someone that. But that's great, Aunt Connie. I appreciate that relating that. I do recall hearing it the first time then, and of course Donnie, when he was coming along, you told it him, and then of course I did. We visited Doc Cunningham up on he was living at Great Falls with his daughter, I believe.
That's right, with his son.
With his son up there at Great Falls, South Carolina. So I knew Uncle Doc Cunningham, and I remember he was in the Baptist Hospital at Columbia, South Carolina there in his latter days, and got to talk with him there. So that's great. That's a fine story.
I remember Uncle Don so pleasantly. He taught me to hunt, and he also taught me how to shoot a gun. We used to be able to go out on particularly bright nights. We'd take cans and shoot them up in the air to see how long we can keep a can up in force, you know. So I remember that very pleasantly about Uncle Doc.
Well, that's Uncle Doc Cunningham, not part Indian, no, but he was adopted by the Cherokee Indians out in Oklahoma. That's great. Sign off.